Hey everyone, our guest for the day is Shreyans Kokra. He's done his studies in Bombay. We've practically been in the same building in different times, Narsi Munje College and Narsi Munje University. He's come back from the US to sort of get involved in his family business and do it a bit differently. When he was in the US, he saw how hemp textile is changing the world, and that's when he started CanvaLoop. CanvaLoop is making India's first jeans with wild Himalayan hemp. Do check out their Kickstarter campaign from the link in the description below. So, hi Shreyans, welcome to the show.
Hi Vipin, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Oh, one thing I missed in the intro is Shreyans actually was the first guy that I talked to in cannabis industry ever back in 2019, and he helped me a lot. That's I think the great thing about few guys in the industry who are sort of helping and trying to talk to people who want to get into the industry. So first of all, thank you so much for that. Um,
Uh,
yeah.
so kind of you. So basically, what we feel is like the industry grows when people help each other, right? Anyways, it's in a such a nascent stage, right? Till we all come together and do it collaboratively, it's very difficult to get it going.
Hmm. Definitely. So we have done a small session with Shiv Shah, the founder of Sentient Hemp, regarding the textile industry. But you were kind of the first guy to, give me the actual picture of hemp textiles. When I started my research into hemp, it was all very rosy, the best fiber and whatever. It takes less water. It sort of, grows within 3 months, things like that. But
Yes.
I mean, what is the reality of actually making a product, right? We can talk about the plant, you can talk about whatever the plant does, but it's essentially a business. So, what
Yes.
is the reality of hemp textile?
So the reality is actually very far-fetched from a common notion of hemp being the miracle crop for the textile industry, right? So inherent properties of the hemp plant make it actually very difficult for textile applications. And whatever we read on the internet that it takes 90 days to grow, consumes significantly less water, produces more fiber per acre, all of this actually like creates a perception that hemp is something very cheap and can replace cotton very easily. But this is far from true, right? So not all hemp grown can be used for textile purposes, first and foremost, right? So there are specific varieties and strains used that can be used for making good quality textiles. Secondly, the fiber production as such today is very scattered and very limited for textile purposes. And that actually makes it a very expensive crop, right, for textile purposes. And it's actually like we produce cottonized hemp fibers ourselves, right? And we know for a fact that it is almost 5 times more expensive than cotton, right?
Hmm.
So when you have that price point in mind, it takes away a lot of the existing textile market. So and technologically also it's evolving. It's a difficult crop to deal with. So uh, eventually, till the prices go down and till the quality is consistent, it the adoption on a large scale is difficult. So we are
Hmm.
seeing some brands experiment with hemp. Companies like us, which are primarily driving brands to actually change their behavior, because it does, like on the positive side, it does bring in a lot of sustainability to the fashion sector, and fashion is one of the largest polluting industries on the planet, right? So if we change the basic core raw material of it, it will definitely help the sector, but I still feel there's a long way to go before we reach there.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that answer, Shreyans. I mean, I understand, and it was the part of my initial research that economies of scale, especially in India, is a challenge. Oh, how do you think the economies of scale have been worked in China? Like China, I think is one of the biggest contributors of hemp textile. So, do you think it's just about time? I mean, the industry, the longer the industry exists, the better it will become. Or is there anything that is missing in India?
So there are two things that work in favor of China. One is like they have a very clear regulation which helps them to farm at scale, right?
Okay.
So the regulations here in India are very unclear. Even in states where it's legal to grow, the regulations are unclear primarily because the 0.3% THC threshold is very difficult to make with the Indian seeds. And second, one very important point is any industry needs early adopters, right?
Hmm.
People who are ready to buy a half-baked product at a higher price because of the novelty of the product, right? So one major advantage that China had was the use of hemp by Chinese military, right? So
Hmm.
Chinese military heavily uses hemp textiles. So when the industry has one very huge buyer, right, it sort of comes together, and there's more money poured in into the industry in getting the infrastructure right. So here itself in the country, if we have some huge institutional buyer, I think the industry will ramp up, come together, and with full force get into the R&D and production mode and do it at scale. So these are actually the two factors that worked in favor of China. And I think there are a lot of companies in India who are trying to regulate the sector, and they are doing a good job. But we are still waiting for adoption from major textile companies. So it's all very small capsule collections or trying out a new material in that phase till we have someone who steps up and says that I need a 100,000 tons of hemp fiber for textile purpose. I think it will be very difficult to produce at scale.
Yeah. I mean, I think you correctly said that we would probably need an institutional buyer. I don't think any private firm is going, because private firms obviously want profits and they'll cater to a particular demand. And when there is no demand, like if there is less demand, it's sort of not possible for a private firm to make anything at scale. Now talking about novelty and the new products and early adopters. I just got to know that you guys are introducing this new product that is Slow Jeans. I have been following it on LinkedIn. I mean, what is it all about? I don't think I've seen any hemp jeans for that matter. Let's in India yet, made in India. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we this year we actually were able to cottonize the hemp fibers, which were grown in the wild in the Himalayas. So if you visit the Himalayan region, there are valleys and valleys of wild hemp growing, which just decays with the snow falling and then grows back again in the summers, right? So it's a continuous cycle which has been going on for thousands of years, and the crop literally goes to waste, right? So, and it's wild seed genetics. We do not have anything mapped, but we worked extensively on the field and primarily were able to cottonize that hemp fiber. And we actually started to supply that to very good fashion brands. But again, we found that the uptake was less because they did not understand the carbon negative value of it, right? That we are taking something which is grown in the wild, which is completely renewable. Even after we harvested, it grows back in 3 months with zero human input. There's absolutely nothing that a human does. It's just the natural conditions on that part of the globe that the plant just grows there, right? So we and so we thought of introducing something directly to the consumers,
Yeah.
and jeans being like our favorite segment of clothing, right? We thought, why not make a good quality jeans out of it? So and throughout the making of that jeans, right, we have kept sustainability as the major focus, right? The fiber that we have chosen, Himalayan hemp, again, a carbon negative textile material. The
Yeah.
processing techniques throughout the value chain that we have used are completely sustainable. And one very important thing that we have done is we have used natural dyes,
Okay.
right? So instead of synthetic dyes, we have used natural dyes to make it. And that actually is far more sustainable than the polluting dyes that are generally used on the denim. So the idea was to basically come out with a product which is truly sustainable, and not greenwashed. So yes, so we have managed to put out a very good product. It feels great on the skin, and all the properties of hemp are there on the denim. So we'll be launching on the 10th, which is like 12 days from now,
Yeah.
and hoping people like it as much as we do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people would love to try it. The hemp space in India, a lot of few consumers that I know of would definitely be
Yes.
able to do that. But let's talk more about it. I mean, when you say that it's cottonization of hemp, what do you mean? I mean, uh, what do you mean by that? Also, is the jeans like 100% hemp, or is there any other fiber to it as well?
Okay. So first thing about cottonization. So one, I think actually glad you asked me that question, right? Because there's a lot of misconception about hemp fiber being used in the textile industry. So in the raw form, hemp cannot be used for textile purposes. It can be used to make very coarse things such as like say a mat or a rope,
Hmm.
which does not involve any kind of machine spinning or weaving. So, but if you want to do it at scale, it needs to be cottonized, right? By cottonization, we essentially mean that we need to convert it into a soft form, which is spinnable on the dry spinning systems,
Okay.
right? Like on cotton spinning machines. That is when the adoption of hemp will actually happen, and it can be used for various applications, right? So after the fiber is cottonized properly, we can virtually make anything out of it, right?
Yeah.
Right from your home furnishings to denims to your t-shirts to bed sheets, anything imaginable is we can make it after hemp is cottonized. In the raw form, hemp is not usable for modern textiles. We can make sailing ropes out of it, but we cannot make the t-shirt that you're wearing or the shirt. In fact, the shirt that I'm wearing is made out of cottonized hemp fiber that we have made. So, so cottonization is essential, and this is something at CanvaLoop that we have mastered over like 3-4 years. But we feel there's a long way to go. To answer your second question, the jeans contain 60% Himalayan hemp. The rest is bamboo Invista lycra. We had to do that because we also want the jeans to feel very, very soft and feel very good when you're wearing it, right? We want
Yeah.
it to be breathable. So while you're wearing, you should feel better than what you normally wear, rather than making a compromise on quality just because we are doing hemp, right?
Hmm.
So the other fiber that we have inculcated is also very sustainable, right? It's the natural bamboo fiber, right? Along with lycra to give that stretchability to the denim. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that is what I love about you guys. I mean, you're not making some far-fetched claims or, unrealistic expectations for people. You are outrightly saying that this is what it is made of, but you
Yes.
just took something from the wild, right, which was getting
Yes.
wasted every year, month on month, and you just
Yes.
converted into a product, and I mean, that's commendable, yeah.
Thank you. So that was the basic idea, right? So we have been doing hemp for 3 years now, right? But this, when we were able to cottonize the wild hemp, that is when we thought that it's time for a consumer product. And so, yeah, I'll show you the denim if it's visible on the screen, right? So when
Sure.
you look at it, you'll never be able to differentiate, right, that this is made out of, say, a material which is grown in the wild, right? So
Yeah.
it looks exactly like a cotton denim and feels better, right? In fact, we did a durability test in house, right? We washed it for like 300 times, and it's
Hmm.
still the same.
Okay.
So I think this is one pair of denim you can actually pass it on to generations.
Yeah, like this is one of the clothes which won't convert into a pocha anytime soon.
Yes. So there's the one very interesting what you can say, एक कहावत बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में, one very interesting saying, right, that I heard from one European client that we deal with, is that there in their local language, what it means is when you make things out of cotton, the king wears it and then gives it to the peasant, right? But when you
Hmm.
make a thing out of hemp, the peasant wears it first and the king wears it later, because every time you wash it, it actually
Until it's
becomes
better.
better.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so that's the whole idea, right? With also naming it slow, that it is supposed to last you for generations. It's the opposite of fast fashion.
Hmm. Got it. Definitely. I mean, that's a great concept, and kudos to you guys for making it, first of all. Where can
Thank you.
people access this and buy this?
So from the 10th of November, it will be live. The campaign will be live on Kickstarter for 40 days, right? So we have a small window. We're doing a first production batch, and especially calling our CBD hemp entrepreneurs, we are trying to do special bundles for people who are in this industry.
Yeah.
So please do check out our campaign when it's live, and any questions we'll be happy to answer, and we are trying to run the production process as transparently as possible.
Hmm.
So we have already started the collection from the wild. So we have a team of around 400 local farmers who are collecting it from the wild. That
Okay.
has already started. And through probably our Insta feed, we'll keep you updated about the tiniest production process that we are having, because it's a long chain till the raw plant finally converts to a denim.
Yeah.
But throughout that chain, we'll be very transparent, very sustainable. One very thing that I want to point out is that we are trying to bring in genuine sustainability instead of
Yeah.
just greenwashing it into, right, that I have recycled a couple of plastic bottles for this and that. But throughout the production process, right, we are
Yeah.
very transparent, focusing on sustainability. Let's see how it goes.
Exactly. I mean, like you said, so many companies, like it's become a hot topic now just to say that you are into sustainability and making green
Sustainability,
products.
yes. Yes.
It's
So actually there's I think by the Sustainable Apparel Coalition or the forum, I don't remember. There was this study, right? More than 75% of the products that we see are greenwashed. So they are not actually sustainable. They're just labeled in such a way that we feel that they are sustainable, right?
got it.
So we want to actually do genuine sustainability, right? I'm re-emphasizing on that point, but we get this a lot, right? So I am also making sustainable products, but is every part of your product sustainable, right? So for example, the leather patch that you see here, right? So it's plant leather.
Okay.
Right. So everything that we do, right, the packaging that we have for the product is again reusable hemp packaging. We are not using any form of paper, any form of plastic in the entire packaging experience also.
Hmm.
So holistically, if brands bring out holistically sustainable products, I think then is when the consumer will also have the confidence that they are getting a complete sustainable product. So it doesn't make sense when you make jeans out of hemp, then you package it into a plastic or with paper, right?
Exactly.
So holistically, we are looking at something which is very sustainable.
Yeah, I mean that's a great idea, and I honestly think that people are going to appreciate the kind of transparency that you are putting forward. Also, an amazing point that you mentioned was you are sort of employing more than 400 farmers to get the wild Himalayan hemp, and that is a great effort on that part as well, because uh, like you're not just creating or like selling a product, you're also creating
Yes.
employments in some or the other way where the product is coming from. Usually when modernization happened, it was all machinery and like people were losing jobs left, right and center, but you're sort of going back to the roots and getting people on board as well.
Yeah, so that is what like one of our primary focus is also, right? So the wild hemp that grows, it grows in remote areas where there is very less work available, right? And people are migrating in numbers to cities from the higher Himalayas, right? So if we can provide them with a consistent livelihood in their own villages, right, which we are planning to do throughout the year, that also prevents mass migration to the cities, and it also creates a sort of what you can say satisfaction for the people living there, because when you are close to your motherland and doing things that are very so, one interesting thing is like a couple of companies actually approached us that you can have a machine decortication at the hills, right? You can bring all the fiber to one place and then you can decorticate it by a machine, right? But we said no to that because although it reduced our costs by a bit, but the idea is to empower as many people as possible, right? And they know the plant, they know the product, and they have been doing it for generations. They did not have a market. We just gave them a market.
Yeah.
So that's the idea, right? Within a year, we do want to touch at least 2,000 more farmers. And yeah, so that's the objective, right? To holistically do something good. And so far, so good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all the best to you guys for this campaign, and we'll try our best to like get the word out and talk to as many people about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. And as like you can reach us out anywhere, right? On our website, on our Insta page, right? I think Vipin will get you the links. And any questions that you have regarding anything related to hemp textiles, hemp fashion, regarding slow jeans, we'll be happy to answer.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Shreyans, for coming on the show. All the best for the
Thank you,
Kickstarter
Vipin.
campaign, and honestly, let's
Thank
see
you.
how your amazing
Yes.
attempt at this goes.
Thank you so much, Vipin. Looking forward to it.